What are some of the downsides to teaching in Vietnam? And actually there are a few that come to my mind and from my experience. In my experience, I found that one of the main downsides is first of all, if you're teaching part-time, which is what majority of the teachers do there, is they teach part-time and they stack their hours to make a schedule. One downside is it can be difficult to maintain a stable and consistent schedule throughout the year, because what you'll find is that a lot of times the classes last by semesters, and your schedule can fluctuate throughout the year. So in some down parts of the year, your schedule, you could lose hours, and of course in the peak season, for example, between like August to December, that's really the best for, teaching. Your schedule, your hours will be, at the max. Alright, so this brings me to my next point, which is it can be hard to save money for the long term, because if you're teaching part-time, you're only earning money for the hours that you teach in. There are going to be times throughout the year when there are downtimes. So for example, the semester breaks, the holidays, like Tet holiday is a major one, winter break, summer break. If you don't have extra hours to be teaching at or another school to be teaching at during these slow times, you might be finding yourself spending your hard-earned savings during these down times. It can be difficult to pick up hours during these down times as well. The other downside that I can think of is you'll have to, most likely if you're teaching part-time, you'll have to commute to several different places throughout the city, and this can be particularly stressful, especially during the peak times of traffic, having to get to the next school on time, and it's also time consuming. The other thing is if you don't drive motorbike, this is especially a downside, I think, because having to rely on Grab or taxis, I think is, in my opinion, unreliable. It is very hard to get a Grab or taxi during peak traffic times, and especially during rainy season when it's raining heavily. It's very hard to call a Grab or get a taxi on time. And taxi drivers can be difficult to deal with, particularly because there's likely to be the language barrier, but also explaining to them where to go and how to navigate throughout the city. So don't just assume that they're gonna know where to go. You need to know where to go, where each school is, so that you can tell them how to get there. I've had a few experiences where if you don't tell them where to go, they'll literally just drive you straight out the city, and they'll just keep going until you tell them to stop. So personally, I think that is one downside, is having to commute to several places, but also if you don't drive motorbike, that's a major downside to the everyday lifestyle in Vietnam. I mean, if you don't have many places to commute to, maybe it's not that bad, but if you have a lot, this can be a major downside. Alright, the last thing that I can think of that's a downside to teaching in Vietnam is in places like Ho Chi Minh City, where it's getting more popular with foreigners, and they have more foreigners coming to the city every year, an increasing amount to teach. You might find that there's still employers that will treat teachers badly and even take advantage of teachers because they see you as replaceable. Unfortunately, this can still be an experience for many teachers, and it is something that likely can happen. So what I recommend is to do your research on a school beforehand. Try to talk with some teachers that actually teach there to get some insight on their experience teaching there as well. So guys, I hope these answers help you, and I hope to see you guys in the next few videos. Take care.